Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff, the host of the Beekeeping for Newbies podcast, and welcome. Today, we're going to be talking about a subject that is really, really important. And as we go through our beekeeping journey, there's lots of little things that we sort of have to do, and there's some things that we probably ought to do. Treating for the varroa mite, having an IPM strategy in place. These are things that we have to do. We don't really have a choice. Now, the next thing that's really, really important, I'm putting it like right there underneath of your IPM strategy. You've got to be maintaining good notes about your hives. Now, if you're a recreational hobbyist beekeeper, you need to keep them. But you also may have a business or you may need to maintain those records for some kind of compliance or regulatory reasons. So getting into the habit of taking good notes early is really important. Now, we've talked about a couple different ways you can do this. You've got the old school pen and paper. That's fine. You can absolutely do that. I did a video actually where we had the chat GPT and I had a cheap mic and I just recorded into a voice memo, uploaded it into a transcription service, took the transcript, put it into chat GPT or the AI platform of your choice. And then you say, hey, put this into a spreadsheet or do this or do that with it. And that's another good way to keep track of things at a really small scale. But as things get larger, as your home apiary grows from 1 or 2 colonies to 8 or 10, or if you're a commercial person, it's even worse. As everything gets bigger and bigger, not only maintaining the notes can be a challenge, but you also want to be able to find a way to take the data and make it actionable, make it do something for you and deliver results that you can use to measure performance, measure your queens, measure certain seasonal activities. If you have 3, 4, 5 years of data, you can go back and say, hey, every year at this time, this same thing keeps happening. The only way to really do that is you're going to have an app. So today I've got a friend of mine who's going to come in and talk to us. So without further ado, I want to bring my friend Kyle in. Kyle, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going, Jeff? Things are
Doing
good over
great.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how's life up in the far north?
It's finally onto a good stretch here, but we literally had snow on the ground a couple mornings ago, so that was not fun. But hey, we're on the home stretch here.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people that have been messaging that. I think I told you about that the other day. We had some folks chatting it up in the Discord room, and they were up in Michigan with some snow. And I know that our people who are out of Pennsylvania, they've just been dealing with between the rain and the cold. Their bees have had a heck of a time, and now they're swarming like crazy out there. So it's getting crazy, a little wild.
Yeah, I could
Well,
imagine that here's going to be the same thing. It's going to be wait, 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 and all of a sudden things start
yeah,
happening.
yeah. Well, before we get too sidetracked, man, if you wouldn't mind, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you got your start in beekeeping.
Yeah, so I started beekeeping about 4 years ago. Was very interested for a while before that, and had a mentor who was kind enough to let me into the apiary and give a helping hand. And as payment, my payment was a nice little nuke. So I got started with one hive, and of course, we all know how that kind of leads to the next one. And but I try and keep my operation around under 10 hives is manageable for me at the moment.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that there is something with that number. Like I remember when it was 1, 2, 5, 7, and 10 is good. 10 is it's still fun. But there's something about crossing that threshold. I had gone from, I think it was 10 or 12 to, I think 50 was the next year's jump. And it was really overwhelming. Like I think there was a guy you probably know in the Discord room where he was talking about how somebody just worked out a deal with him, and I think they were giving him a couple of nukes to help out. Well, then I guess a neighbor or somebody said, hey, there's an old timer here who can't keep bees anymore. We're going to give you like 20 some hives, or I guess he's managing 20 some hives now. And he was saying, he's like, oh my God, it's a lot to
It's a
go
different ball
from.
game.
It is, it
Yeah.
is. But the 10 threshold is a good place, man. 8 to 10 is a nice little sweet spot. You're able to replace, overwintering failures. So it's not a bad place to be.
That's right. Yeah. And then on the rest of my time, I'm a web developer, so I've been doing that for about 20 years now.
Okay.
And So software, web-based applications is my focus. And yeah, that's kind of
Okay.
what I do during the day, and
Yeah.
keep busy that way.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Well, so I guess if I remember correctly, I think you said that you have like a celebrity beekeeping neighbor down the road. Is that accurate?
That's yeah, a good way to put it. Yeah, he's a well-known fellow by the name of Ian Stepler, and I grew up about 15 minutes west of him on a family farm there. So um, yeah, it's a treat to have him around because he's got a lot of experience and uh, a lot of insight on things. So um, yeah, having him in the same climate is a nice thing to have.
Yeah, I think he a good role model. He's just a good down to earth guy. He's just a cool fellow. We had him on a couple years ago, and just one of the most down to earth people you ever meet. So it's kind of cool to hear that you're close by, and of course I guess his family's got a pretty deep history of agriculture in that area. So it's kind of a fun story. Well, so as you're out there beekeeping now, you got your mentor, you get started with your first nuke, and you're beekeeping along and everything is going great. And then what was it that happened? What was it that kind of clicked with you that's like, I don't really like the way this whole pen and paper thing, it's wearing me down. What was it that kind of made you say, all right, we got to do something different here?
Yeah. Well, I knew that note taking was important, and so I kind of had my own ways, like we all do. I had a notebook, one in the truck, one in my toolbox, and then it was just like, okay, I'm taking these notes, but what are they doing for me? How am I using them later? Like, sure, I can tell. I might look back at one and say, oh yeah, that's when I did my last inspection, but it was the complex of being able to see in a linear fashion and over comparison of what I've done versus what I want to do and what is working, basically. So I kind of went from the notebooks to the wax crayon on the hive lid, and then maybe I'll keep my notebook between the top board and the top lid. And then because my hives are away from home and I don't have the luxury of having them in my backyard, there's the complexity of having them so far away and not knowing exactly what I did on the last one if I don't have my book or the hive in front of me. So bricks kind of failed. Um,
Hmm.
Markers on the hive tops that also failed.
Well, can I interrupt you real
So now,
quick?
yeah.
Just for those who don't know, when you say that bricks didn't work or marking the hive tops, can you go a little bit deeper? Because there's probably a few new folks who are thinking, I have no idea what you're talking about. I know, but I don't think they do.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's lots of ways to leave yourself hints or signals or patterns to understand, to decode, I'll say, what you've done in that hive. So some people have colored bricks, or some people have a long style brick. And if it's standing on end, it means one thing. If it's facing east, it means one thing. If it's on the flat, it means something. If it's not on the lid, it means another thing. And those are fine until you kind of lose track of that, or in my case, can't see it from where I am. So, and same thing with the I guess they call China markers or wax markers is they write fine. That's great. It's tactile enough. I can do it with gloves on, so that was okay. But now, what did that hive say, and which one is it under, and uh, those kind of things. So it's fine if I've got the top lid open and I can see the top of the lid, but I wanted something that would allow me to prepare for what I'm about to venture out to, have an idea of the equipment that I might need for that time frame, based on what I did previously or based on the weather or what I should be expecting, basically. So it can be if I'm expecting a new queen, I would like to know that B date is 16 days before. In
Mhm.
16 days I got to go check to make sure that she's hatched and out, and then give her a couple weeks for mating and come back. So those are tasks that I wanted to know, and when I should schedule my next appearance in that apiary. So
Yeah, well, that's as soon as you're going through and you're talking about that, the things that immediately came to mind is that right there with the queen and that kind of scenario. So think about just three or four hives. If you have three or four hives and you're running these colonies are, let's say they're overwintered, it's the spring, things tend to explode in the spring, and you've got queen cells all over the place, and you've got to make a decision. And the decision might be, well, I'm going to take some of these queen cells out, we're going to use them to make some nukes, we're going to destroy some because I just want this colony to get really, really large and we're not going to be splitting. And you've got a lot of decisions to be made. And I don't know, I think there is a select group of people globally, and they're probably younger. They're probably like 16 to 20 or something like that, of really bright people who can just, they like laser focus and bring it all in and everything is fine. I cannot do that. Like I said before, I think I walk through, the first three or four, and by the time I get to the third one, I have no idea what happened on the first. And I think that there's features and things like that. It's like whatever you can think of, you can just make it happen. I think that's kind of a unique space to be in with what you're doing.
Yeah, and I exactly that is that being the developer and the beekeeper, I was able to really hone in on the things that were my pain points, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that have these pain points. Things like recording live on the spot or right after I've done the inspection, and not having to talk like a robot. Like I don't want to be forced into a specific way to write down my notes. I'd like to just speak naturally, have it pull out or extract the data that I've given it, whether I'm going frame by frame or if I just have a synopsis of the entire inspection. All those things get captured, and it makes it easy in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. So for those of you who don't know, so Kyle is a member of our Discord room. And I was all excited one day. I went in and I was like, hey, you guys won't believe what we're doing. I came up with this thing and I'm recording it into my mic, and then I put it in a voice memo and it goes into Chat GPT and it spits out, all my stuff, and it's great. And I'm excited because I think like I just, basically I'm on the verge of solving world hunger or something. And then Kyle comes in and messages and he's like, yeah, my app does that natively. And I was like, but anyway, yeah, being able to make those things and integrate those features that are important to you is pretty cool. Now, when you talk about, the 20 plus years in software development and that experience, what do you think? Is there a way you feel like that almost, obviously it differentiates you from some random person who says, oh, I think I'm going to make an app. But how does it play in with things where maybe somebody says, I'm going to use like Claude Code or something like that? Are there things that to you, there's just like, you just can't do this stuff with random code? There's integration points and touch points that maybe you could, but it might take you a couple years kind of thing. Like, what do you say to somebody who's like, I'll just go do my own?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some guys that say, "Oh, I can build my own," what I guess they're calling it vibe code, and quickly code up something, and it'll probably work. It might work for a few people, but it's the I guess with AI, it's a question of like, if something goes wrong, will you be able to identify it, and how will you be able to rectify it? And then I guess that's where some experience comes in, development-wise, of fail-safe systems and backups, and figuring out different protocols versus just winging it or that kind of thing.
Well, talking about the app a little bit. So, do you have? I know for a fact, I know there's a desktop version. I've already seen that. But tell me about the different formats, different ways people can interact with it. What do you have out there for options?
Yeah, so again, another pain point was some of the apps that I was trying was is like either only on Android or only on iOS, and then didn't have or lacked the desktop portion, or uh, allowed you a free trial kind of thing for a while, and then it kind of cut you off, with no continued anything. So I thought, okay, what if I could use it for, let people use it for two hives, unlimited, all the pro features, and to see if you like it. If and like I said, it's not digital hive keeping record keeping for hives is not for everybody. Some people have a great system and their pen and paper is their god, and that's the way it's going to be. That's totally fine. I guess I'm stressing the importance of the record keeping is where I'm at. And if APiLOG can help people make that easier, I hope it can. And that's kind of where I'm focused. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, so now thinking about the feature set, obviously you mentioned before that a lot of the drivers for how you did the design and the capabilities and the things you were integrating into the app, a lot of that was based on, your experience, what you're seeing, what you're hearing. If I had to take a shot in the dark, I'd probably say that while you were in the Discord room, you listened to people make comments about things and say, "Oh, geez, that's probably a good idea there as well," because you're getting all this real time feedback from a whole lot of people. But what would you say? And it's kind of like a multi-part question, but what would you say would be kind of like key features, things that are things that might resonate with different groups, where somebody might say, I think as we talked about earlier with around swarming. So you have a colony that's going to swarm and or they have already swarmed. How do you manage the splitting of the resources? Just key features, things that you think are really unique. Like I came up with this idea and I haven't heard anybody else doing this, talking about this. Anything that you think you'd like to share with everyone that you feel you get geeked out about it because it's just really cool, any of those things.
sure, yeah. I mean, there's a couple. One, the biggest, obviously, being the voice recording part. So extracting of the data from a natural voice. That's a big one. And then things that I've been able to kind of build my own algorithms around is the swarm risk calculation. So it takes things into account like your past inspections, the hive setup, if you've given them room or not, the current upcoming weather patterns. So like if a hive has got lots of resources, they're making lots of brood, and all of a sudden the weather is going to not be in favor for flying days,
Mm-hmm.
that makes a big difference and can trigger a hive into a swarm behavior. So um, being on top of those types of issues is kind of where the swarm risk calculation comes in, and it gives you an insight of which hives might be susceptible to something like that. So the other thing that I noticed was there's not going to be only be new beekeepers using this app, and there's not only going to be commercial people using this app. So, or the in-between sideliner. So finding the balance of providing like almost a step-by-step way to get through it, but also intuitive enough to just pick up, use, and have the power behind all the data points that you might want to be tracking without getting too caught up in the nuance of the minutia of all the little details that you could track for a hive. So where I developed something that helps the new beekeeper might be the automated or what I call the assistant tasks. So
Mm-hmm.
these tasks are generated automatically based on your geographical region, and they're basically a jumping off point or a starting point to tasks that should be or could be relative to you in your apiary. And then you can either skip them or recreate them or copy them over into your own calendar, kind of how it works. And I'll show you guys that a little bit later. But yeah, so those are kind of the three good points. And then obviously the standard notification of inspection duration. So I can set if I'm a new guy or a girl that want to check on my hives a little bit like more often, I guess, when I'm a new beekeeper, because that's how you learn. I could set my interval to be 5 or 7 days. So every 7 to 5 days, it's kind of tell me what's up and remind me that these hives might need an inspection. Versus if I'm, you know, a commercial guy or very seasoned, I might only want to get in there every 14 days or whatever you might want.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know there's a lot of notifications within the app itself. So you log in, you're interfacing with everything, and it has a list of action items and things you might need to do. Are there any types of like a push notification that can send you an email or send you a text or anything that is external to the app itself?
Yeah, so being that it's a web app, it does encounter some limitations of the push notifications, but you can load it as a home screen item to allow push notifications. But everything is mostly based off of email, and you can set those notifications to be weekly, real time, or per day, and then set your time of day that you might want to get that sent to you. So if you're an 8 a.m. or a 6 a.m. or a 12 p.m. guy, that's your option. So yeah, it's full options like uh, metric and imperial,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I think I was just kind of like going through the like the various scenarios, I guess, where it would make sense. And the first thing that I thought was, well, it'd be nice to get some kind of notification on inspection kind of things, like where you have a you're on a schedule and it's supposed to be once a week, or maybe you're on an every 10 day. You don't necessarily have to be somewhere during the week where maybe you're retired or you don't have those midweek commitments, so you set yours on every 10 days. And that's where the idea kind of came from. It's not like there's a real time challenge where I've got to get SMS alerts or anything like that. But at least having something where it's like, hey, don't forget tomorrow you got your inspection, or like the critical one, like you mentioned, like, hey, it's been 3 weeks, or something more serious. You got to get your
yeah.
job done. Yeah.
Yeah, like I personally have mine set on a weekly basis because I usually do my inspections during the weekend, and having that kind of sent to me with here's the list of what's needs to be done, and
Hmm.
maybe here's what's coming up. So make sure you head to the bee supply store to get your stuff before the weekend because this is what you're going to be up to, and or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never
No, that
know.
makes sense. Well, so I mean, I think that we've got a lot of kind of overview, and we've talked about some of the things that are in it. Is there anything else you want to cover before we head to the demo, just so that we make sure that there's that we don't want to leave anything out?
Um, yeah, no, I mean just the fact that it works on all devices. I think it helps users approach it better, and it's available for up to 2 hives. All the pro features, like I said, and I'm always around and happy to assist or help with any questions that might arise, whether it's uh, about the app or maybe I might have some beekeeping knowledge. But the assistant, the AI assistant, is there to help with those beekeeping style questions because it has your inspection history, your local forecast, and yeah, all the details it needs.
Yeah, I really like that local forecast kind of thing. That's pretty cool. Just having some information that can tie into your local with the calendar. I know you're going to show that when you do the demo, but that to me is one of the neatest features because, like I said, and we've talked about before, you have all these things that are just unique to where you are. And I can talk all day long about everything happening here, and you're up there going, no, that's not how it works here. So being able to have that customization native and integrated in like that is pretty slick. Well, let's go ahead and jump in then to the demo
Sure.
and we'll take a look at things.
Sure. Yeah, so when you start an account, you'll be prompted with a few questions about your operation. This will help the system understand what you might need and your location, etc. And then you'll be prompted to either start an hive or an apiary, and either is fine to start with. Hives can be individually located. So they can be what I would consider a standalone hive. So no particular hive or no particular apiary. And then you can have hives under apiaries. So um, that's where that comes in. But this page that we're looking at is the dashboard. And it gives you kind of a bird's eye view of these stat cards of what's happening with your hives. Obviously, this is some test data here, so I hopefully have inspected a hive sooner than 30 days, but it's in the critical. So let's go kind of see what's happening there soon. I'll show you the upcoming tasks. These are some tasks that I've created. I can complete them or skip them from here, or I can view them or add or organize them from the tabs page or from the tasks page, sorry. Um, Recent activity, this is where I see anything that I've done, whether it's an inspection, a queen sighting, or a treatment. I can add an inspection from here as well. As I was saying, let's go see what needs to be inspected. So as I click that page, I will get the hives page, and I can see that there are a few hives that need immediate intervention or an inspection of some sort. This page will organize your hives in a fashion of by apiary. I can see which ones are under which apiary. I can see which ones are queenless and the last inspection. So some short latest details about each hive on each hive page. Each hive has a hive assistant. So this assistant is your AI assistant or analyzer. It has past and previous weather data and inspection data. It also has your hive configuration set up. So when I ask it a question, it will know what kind of hive I'm dealing with, if it's a horizontal hive or a Langstroth hive or top bar, etc. It'll have those details. It'll have past inspection, so it'll be able to provide me with some options, and then from there I can select which option or route or path that I would like to take with this hive. It doesn't force you to go which one way or another. I can also ask it to create a task for this, whether it's down the road or on a multiple hive situation. So that's the task assistant, handy for new beekeepers and anybody that might have forgotten something, or what can I treat whatever with. It'll be able to pull that up for you quickly. So if I was to make an inspection from this page, I'll head over to the inspections page. Jeff and I had done some testing earlier there, and there was some choppiness with recording at the same time of doing this recording of the podcast stream. So I pre-recorded a 3-minute inspection here that was kind of a frame-by-frame inspection. And I can either apply this inspection to an entire apiary or hive by hive. So for example, there are some guys that have a few more hives than the newbie would, and they would like to apply this inspection to 5 or 10 or 100, the entire apiary in one go. So that saves a lot of time. And the voice feature can also take in audio, pre-recorded audio or video, and analyze the audio from that. So if you're one who likes to video record each inspection, this will analyze that data as well. So I can transcribe this. It'll send the audio up and get it transcribed, and it'll pull out or extract the important data points of your hive inspection for you. Once that's complete, it'll also display the entire transcription to display all the nuances of your hive inspection that you might have put into the notes section. So everything in detail is here, so that the hive inspector or hive assistant later can analyze that data as well. But I'll go through each section real quick. Because I have a location on this hive, I have automatically tracked the weather and any pollen data that might be coming in. Here it's recognized that I've seen the queen. Her laying pattern is good. I've seen the eggs, larvae, and capped brood. The demeanor of the temperament of the bees is calm. Any concerns that it has will come in here. This can be multitude of concerns that it might pull out. If I'm doing a mite wash and I say the mite wash came out with a count of 3, this would have a count of 3 or a count of 2, and I can always go back and adjust these as needed. In this inspection, I didn't mention, I guess, anything about the stores. So these can be adjusted later or on the fly. So if there's differences in there, they can always be manually override. If I have mentioned that there was a super, or I will be adding one super, that would pick up in here as well. I can also track hive weight, kilograms or pounds, however you have that set up in your settings. And in the automated feature, there's a automated or auto-calculated health status based on the input data that you have put. If I am indifferent to the automated results, I can always select any other health status that I wish to put. This field here for the or is more for the spring inspections. If I find that the colony has not made it through winter, I can provide a primary cause and a secondary cause of what I think might have been the cause for that. And this is important for, like we were talking about earlier, Jeff, is that when you have data, it's fine, but the beauty of a digital data is to be able the ability to go back and see hive records and compare them linearly over year after year, or hive over hive with queen genetics, or different nuances that might be that might point out a pattern of some sort that we might want to address. So then once I get back to my hives page, after that's been saved, I can see that the critical intervention warning has been fixed, and I have now my latest hive inspection here. So I can kind of see everything that's going on. I can see that I have 5 hives that are queenless that I need to address or add a queen to. And I can go into my queens page and add a new queen if I'm rearing queens, provide productivity hygiene scores for them. There's like the different methods of uncapping scores and stuff that you can provide. And then I can bulk assign these queens to hives that I have, or just one by one. So that kind of gives you a bird's eye view of the capabilities of the app. The swarm risk is another fun one. There's some heavy computing, I'll say, in the back of this based on your weather, the previous hive inspections data, and a bunch of other cool stuff that I think is cool. But and it gives you a score about it's a swarm risk, so it's not necessarily saying that it's going to swarm, but if there is elevated risk in that hive based on the data, it will prompt you to go and have an inspection and just make sure that things are kosher. This plus sign and QR code. So each hive is assigned a QR code, and you can scan that QR code to be pulled right into the hive details page. So that would pull you right into this view. And now I can see right in the field past data, or anything that I might want to add to these items. So if I'm wondering when the last time these guys got fed, I can see, okay, I fed them in the fall, so they had, a good amount of food or whatnot. And then the main power button here is going to be this plus sign. And from this plus sign, I can add a task, an inspection, harvest, feeding, or treatment. And this is the power of simple taps and easy to navigate situation. And then if ever you have any questions, Jeff, do you want to switch me over to the other side there? I'll just show on this side here, I have a live chat. So most of the time I'm available to help you out through any questions of the app. And if not, it'll send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So you're always taken care of as soon as I can get to it.
Hey, Kyle, real quick, there was something you mentioned earlier about being able to customize something to your locality. There was some information that was provided within the system based on where you are.
Yeah, okay, so that's under the tasks area. The system has pre-built calendar or tasks based on your location. So that is set, like I said, in that window when you sign up. There's these task templates, and there's a numerous areas of calendars. And like we said before, beekeeping is different in every location. So if you pick a region that is closest to you, the task templates will be relatively suited for your area. So this is great for new beekeepers that you know, aren't quite sure what to do or what's next for my hives or what should I be looking for. These task assistants, you'll see that they're labeled here with an assistant marker saying that in this area, this is test technically or probable of what you should be checking for at this time. So in my area, June 14th, I want to make sure that, that's probably the beginning of my flow. I should make sure that I have my first honey um, either harvested or make sure that everything is going well with the supers on top of those hives. So based on your location, the assistant will have different date markers and or different flora or pest management stuff. So yeah.
Well, Kyle, man, it has been great having you today. I sincerely appreciate everything. The demo was awesome. I'm looking forward to playing around with the software a little bit myself. And everybody at home, Kyle has offered a discount for anybody, listening to the podcast, watching on the YouTube channel. You're going to go to APiLOG, APiLOG.app, apilog.app, and it's coupon code BK4N, like beekeeping for newbies. And that code will get you 60% off. And you just use that during checkout and you'll be covered there. Kyle, any last words of wisdom before we wrap up for the day?
I mean, it's note keeping is the one of the most important, like you were saying, and I don't mind how you keep your notes as long as you're keeping them. There's lots of ways to do it. So digital, paper, analog kind of stuff. It's all about keeping proper notes. So the consistency of note keeping is where you're gonna come out ahead. So that's my stressor is keep good records and they'll treat you well.
I agree 100%. And there's still nothing like being able to have the correlation of that data over long term that you get from the technology. It's hard to beat that. But again, thank you very much for being here. You're always welcome to come back if you have a software update you want to tell us about, any cool features you're getting ready to release. Come by quarterly or whatever makes sense for you. We'd love to have you back again.
Cool. I appreciate it, Jeff. Thank you so much. And hello, and thank you to the listeners.
All right, buddy. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Take care.